Hello and welcome. I'm a Hotel AI expert, and on behalf of the entire team here, I'm thrilled to welcome all students of Europe Hotel School to your online learning journey. Now, if you're in this industry, you already know that not all guests are the same, but the real question is, are you selling to them as if they are? Today, we're going to dig into the unique DNA of different hotel buyers to really sharpen your prospecting and set you up for success.
You know, this quote right here, it gets to the absolute heart of a very common and very costly mistake. A one-size-fits-all approach is like trying to use the same key for every single door in the hotel. It just doesn't work. So today, we're going to build your master key set.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll break down the idea of one strategy for three very different audiences. Then, we'll get right into the minds of the corporate buyer, the leisure traveler, and the MICE planner. And to finish, we'll pull it all together so you know exactly how to adapt your approach and win.
Okay, let's jump in. To really succeed in hotel sales, you have to remember you're not just selling rooms, you're selling solutions. And your strategy has to start with understanding these three core buyer segments: corporate, leisure, and MICE. Now, while we group them into these three neat categories, the reality is that each one is operating in its own universe. Seriously, they have completely different motivations, they follow totally unique decision-making paths, and they use entirely separate criteria to figure out if your hotel is the right fit. Getting this right is absolutely the first step to becoming a top performer. All right, let's start with our first segment, the corporate buyer. The best way to think of them? They're the pragmatists of the hotel world. Every decision they make is driven by logic, by data, and by very clear business objectives. For them, it is all about performance. See, the corporate buyer isn't looking for a surprise. In fact, they're looking for the complete opposite: absolute predictability. They need to know without a doubt that their travelers are going to have a consistent, efficient, and safe experience every single time. And all of that has to fit within their company's strict travel policies.
And this table here illustrates perfectly how you align your strategy with their thinking. If they need predictable standards, you don't sell them flair and excitement. You build trust by showing them your performance history. If they have a structured process with RFPs, you come back with fact-based value, not vague promises. Your role is to become that reliable, stable partner who just makes their job easier and lowers their risk. Okay, now let's completely shift gears. We're moving away from pure logic and diving headfirst into pure emotion. Because the leisure traveler, well, they aren't just buying a bed for the night. They're buying a memory, an experience, a story they can tell their friends about. For the leisure buyer, the number one priority is all about how the stay makes them feel. They are driven by aspiration. They're asking themselves, will this trip be relaxing? Will it be romantic? Will it be an adventure? Their decision is deeply personal, and it's tied directly to the kind of experience they're dreaming of.
So how in the world do you connect with that? Simple. You become a storyteller. You don't just list your amenities, you craft narratives around them. You use incredible photos and videos that let them actually imagine themselves relaxing by your pool or having dinner with that amazing view. You're not selling a room, you're selling the feeling they're going to have when they're in it.
Let's just put them side by side for a second. On one hand, you've got the analytical corporate buyer who responds to data, efficiency, and logic. On the other, the aspirational leisure buyer who responds to emotion, visuals, and storytelling. You see, using the same approach for both of them doesn't just fail to persuade them. It tells them you don't even understand their world.
Okay, so we've covered logic and we've covered emotion. Now let's tackle our third and by far most complex segment, the MICE buyer. This group, the folks responsible for meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions, they are truly in a league of their own.
For a MICE planner, the number one priority, above all else, is avoiding failure. I mean, think about it. They're orchestrating these massive, complicated events with huge budgets and even bigger expectations. They need a partner who can guarantee flawless execution and eliminate any chance of risk. Their professional reputation is on the line. And here's what makes it so complex. You're almost never selling to just one person. You've got all these layers of decision makers. The event organizer is worried about the attendee experience, while the procurement team is focused on the contract language, and the tech coordinator is stressing about the Wi-Fi bandwidth. Your job? You have to satisfy all of them. This means your sales approach has got to be consultative. It has to be. Because they have these long planning cycles, you have to be incredibly patient and detailed. Because they're terrified of risk, you have to provide solid proof with case studies and testimonials. You're not just a vendor to them. You have to be an extension of their event planning team. a real partner in execution. So we've explored the three very distinct DNAs of hotel buyers. Now it's time to bring it all home. Because, look, understanding them is one thing, but adapting your communication to actually win their business, well, that's the real goal here.
Let's be clear, adapting your message isn't just some clever tactic, it's a core strategy. The moment you start speaking the buyer's language, whether that's the language of data, of emotion, or of logistics, you instantly build trust. You're showing them you've done your homework and that you're the one who is uniquely equipped to meet their needs.
So let's boil this all down into your new toolkit. For the corporate buyer, you're the reliable, data-driven partner. For the leisure traveler, you are the compelling storyteller who brings their vacation dreams to life. And for the MICE planner, you are the expert, consultative solution who guarantees a flawless event. 3 roles, 3 completely different winning strategies.
When you master these approaches, you transform your prospecting from a simple outreach into a powerful communication process that builds real relationships and, of course, drives revenue. So the only question left is, which buyer will you connect with first?